We are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome back to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week, we are covering another ghost story, this time from Hawaiian mythology in the Nightmarchers. And the Nightmarchers are also known as spirit ranks, and they're deadly ghosts of ancient tribal Hawaiian warriors who are vanguards for a sacred king, chief or chiefess. And they appear on the nights honoring the Hawaiian gods Kane, Ku, and Lono. I hope I'm pronouncing those right. And they also appear on the nights of Kanaloa, and they raise up from their burial sites or the ocean.
Could you imagine if you were like right next to the ocean and all of a sudden a big procession of Hawaiian warriors just started appearing out of the ocean water? That'd be terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
And the march usually is in large groups to ancient Hawaiian battle groups or battlegrounds or other sacred sites. And they are normal-sized warriors dressed for battle, carrying spears and clubs, with some beating war drums and blowing on conch shells to announce their advances. Uh, Suspended in the air and leave no trace of their movement, and barriers do not affect their advancement. So, like, nothing can stop them.
Literally, nothing but themselves can stop them. Or also, sunrise could stop them because the march itself starts at sunset and continues until right before sunrise. So I guess the sun is the one thing that can stop them. And people along the path may hear chanting, conch shells, and marching sounds. And other reported signs are foul or musky, death-like odor, along with torches getting brighter and closer as the march advances. And they may appear during the day if they are to escort a dying relative to the spirit world, but that's it. That just appears to be a special occurrence.
So you're saying we're not even safe during the day? That's terrifying.
No, we are not if we're ever in Hawaii.
And it's not always good because there are some consequences and ways that you can avoid them. So, the ancient Hawaiian belief states that any mortal looking upon or being seen in defiance toward the marchers will die violently. And some maintain that if a mortal lies motionless, face down on the ground, are showing proper respect, fear, and difference, then they will be spared. So, if you basically do nothing and don't look at them, then you could be fine. Can also be spared harm or death by having an ancestor in the march that recognizes the person. So, if you knew someone that was in the march, then they could save you or stop the others. I don't know. And said ancestor will call Nau, which means mine in Hawaiian, and the procession will then continue.
So how I took it is that the ancestor that's in the march doesn't necessarily have to be like a close ancestral link. It just could like recognize that you share the same bloodline.
Well, I think there would probably be a pretty good chance then that any natural born Hawaiian will probably be fine. If you're a tourist, on the other hand, though, you might not be good.
Exactly. And some legends surround within the legend is that playing tea shrubs or Thai shrubs can help keep away evil spirits, and ceremony and conduct of the march itself is customized to the taste of the warrior leader that it's honoring. So, like we've got some examples here. If the leader enjoyed music, then they'd be honored with drumming and chanting. If they liked silence, the march would be as quiet as possible. Or if the leader did not like walking, they would be carried in a sling.
That makes the marches a little bit more interesting because they're not always the same for every time.
Exactly.
Legends involving leaders' body parts. So, ancient Hawaiian lore states that body parts of a deceased leader are sacred and not to be seen by mortals. So, punishment for this was always instant death, usually by bolts of light and flaming heat that originated from the marcher's eyes. So they just
laser eyes, nice.
Exactly, laser eyes. These ghosts have laser eyes. And if the leader's face was not supposed to be seen, he'd lead from the front. And if his back wasn't supposed to be seen, he'd lead from the back. And some leaders didn't have a body part that wasn't supposed to be seen, so they would march among the warriors.
So there's more than one way that the march could vary from march to march. Like it's just interesting.
You know, whenever I would think about people being, I imagine them being beat up by clubs and stuff like that if they looked, and not laser eyes. That's interesting.
Exactly. And then there's even more special cases in which some marches are said to be joined by Hawaiian gods. The torches are said to be burned brighter in these cases. And there are 5 large torches that are carried. 1 in front, 3 in the middle, and 1 in the back. The number 5 is like the number 3 in Christianity and being significant towards Hawaiian mythology. That's what I found. So that's apparently the number 5 is very symbolic. But 6 Hawaiian gods are in these special marches. 3 males and 3 females. And the goddess, again, forgive me for this pronunciation. I'm probably going to butcher it very, very badly. Goddess named Hiaka Iaka Poliopele, often shortened to Hiaka, is often within these special marches.
I think you did pretty good. Sounded pretty all right.
Sounded close enough.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our thoughts, I do think it's an interesting ghost story, like the La Llorona that we covered last week. Go watch that after this. We're about done, so don't worry. You can finish this episode up and go back and watch the La Llorona episode if you haven't. But it's not only a good ghost story, but it also ties into Hawaiian mythology with the some Hawaiian gods being involved as well.
Yeah, I agree that it's just a ghost story, an interesting ghost story. But just the thought of a group of heavily armed ghost warriors marching like from the ocean or a burial site around does sound pretty dang cool. And the thought that if you look at them, or I guess look at the body parts of the like leader or whatever, they could shoot laser eyes at you. That's pretty dang unique. That, and I do like the idea that if you have an ancestor in the march, that they could protect you, kind of thing. They'll like say it's like, oh, he's mine, don't worry about him. I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, you combine that it's heavily armed ghost combined with essentially Hawaiian mythology and the aspect of the laser eyes.
Hmm.
Very on point.
Very unique.
Very unique. I didn't expect anything go less from something from Hawaiian mythology. So kudos to you, Hawaii. And I think that's all we've got for this week. Any last words, Ethan?
Just thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening. If you're on Spotify, drop us a follow and comment, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, bye, everyone.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Rougarou. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokaloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like the phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject to folklore.